My husband, M43, pooped on the floor and I, F42, don't know how to deal. This is long, I have to get it off my chest. Too long, did not read. What do I do about my husband acting like a child and pooping on the floor? This is a throwaway account for very obvious reasons. My husband is a 43-year-old man. He and I, 42F, have been together for over 20 years, most of it very happy. He has always had a questionable relationship with alcohol. He often drinks to the point where he doesn't show up for plans, forgets to call me or won't answer his phone for hours and I don't know where he is, keeps drinking even though he says he'll stop but then blacks out and does something embarrassing, and so on. I have collected him from bars that he was getting kicked out of many times, found him on the streets or other places drunk and lost, and have gotten him home each time before the cops got him or someone robbed him. I don't like to travel and leave him by himself because if he starts drinking, he tends to neglect our pets. He has never been abusive and we don't have any issues with infidelity. He spends a lot of time hungover and sleeping all day. He lost his dream job well over a year ago, and even though he behaved the same way while he had it, his behavior seems different now that he's jobless and acting this way. I have tried to be patient over the years because I'm not perfect either. I also like to drink, but not like he does. I have had so many talks with him ranging from compassionate to angry to indifferent to resigned. I have suggested we both stop drinking, again, I don't drink like he does, as well as less extreme measures such as putting limits on drinking, taking long drinking breaks, and so on. He does not like to talk about his drinking or how he acts during it and often won't. He will usually get mad at me for bringing it up, even if I'm like, "Hey, do you know that I had to come get you out of the bar last night because they were calling the police and it took 3 of us to get you to the door?" He has no recollection, and not answer or just walk out of the room. He rarely apologizes for whatever mess he's gotten himself into that I get him out of, usually at the cost of my sleep. I have to get up early for work. I feel terrible even writing this because he really is a good guy. There's so much more to him than what I'm complaining about. He's smart and funny and we really are best friends. I just am getting to the end of the line when it comes to him and booze. I can tell he feels badly about the things he's done, but he'll never actually talk to me about it. So it's like he doesn't respect me or care that I'm worried and spend so much time getting him out of messes and cleaning up after him. I do realize this could be depression, but I have tried for years to talk to him, to be there, to be supportive. Usually just to get the silent treatment. Anyway, over the past year, he has started farting really loudly while drinking. I hate it so much. He does it and laughs like a little kid and I have begged him to stop. I yell at him and stomp out of the room when he starts because it's so idiotic and disgusting. He knows I hate it. These aren't normal farts, they're loud and gross and turn my stomach. I cannot believe anyone would act so cringy. The next day I always tell him he needs to check himself because they sound liquid. Why would he do this? He knows I hate it and find it repulsive. Why would he want me to be disgusted by him? I would never, ever, ever purposefully do something to disgust someone. Especially as a grown adult. He doesn't do it around other people, so he does have some basic shred of awareness. Fast forward to this past weekend. We were drinking and talking and it was going well. He hadn't been drinking in about a week and it was nice to talk to him like an adult, because in addition to him not talking to me about issues that are clearly bothering him, he just doesn't like to have conversations with me. He usually starts lecturing me about something or asking me if I've taken care of tasks that need to be done. But he was acting like a grown-up and treating me like one, and it was fun. I can't believe we're in our 40s and I have to write that. I had been away on business and was telling him about the meetings that were successful. But then the farting started. Suddenly his face contorted and he ran into the bathroom. I ran over to where he was standing and there was a huge piece of actual poop on the floor. He was wearing loose-fitting PJ pants. I started yelling at him that he just shished tea on the floor and it was ridiculous, and he denied that he did it. This is while he was still in the bathroom. I said, "There is actual shish tea on the floor. Clean this up." I left the room with our animals so they didn't step in it, then made him take a shower after he cleaned up. The next day, there were streaks all over the kitchen and glops of poop in random places. You could tell an attempt had been made but wasn't successful. I'm sorry for the length of this, I just can't talk to anyone because it's so horrible and I don't want to embarrass him. What do I do? I'm so grossed out and I can tell he's embarrassed, but of course he won't talk about it and has not apologized. I just feel weird around him and so turned off. I've tried to be kind because that's how I would want to be treated, but how do I deal with this? What does it all mean? Please be nice to me, and to him, in any responses. I just have no idea how to handle this and can't tell anyone we know for obvious reasons. Thank you, Reddit. You wrote an entire essay and still refuse to use the word alcoholic. That's what he is. He's going to drink himself to death and needs to get his poopy ass dragged kicking and screaming to AA. He needs help, tough love. Do not come back home till you get your shit together, love. You being kind all the time and coddling him based on good memories from years ago is not helping. I lived with an alcoholic. He shit himself more than once and one night he wet the bed, peeing all over me. It was the last straw and I left him. 20 years later he is still an alcoholic. I tell you this to let you know that your husband may not magically change just because you walk out on him, but that is what you must do. Leave and save yourself. Al-Anon will help you learn how to let go of him and save you. He may get himself help and he may get sober, but for right now you can't stay in that hell with him. It's not your demon to slay. You are enabling an alcoholic. He literally shit on your floor. You handle it by either telling him he must get help, or you fucking leave. That's your choices. I was 2.5 years old when I watched my drunk granddad break my drunk uncle's nose. The abuse stopped there. This is serious. Please get help. If he's not working, how is he paying for the alcohol? Stop enabling him. If he gets drunk to the point he blacks out, let him get picked up by the cops. Maybe if he spends a bit of time in jail he will get that it's serious. He's not a functioning alcoholic. I'm pretty sure that you're the one paying for the alcohol. It might be time to cut him off financially. He's literally drinking your money away. Stop enabling him. Sometimes he have to do tough love to help those we love. This is one of those times. He is an alcoholic. He is doing all the things alcoholics do. Ask me how I know. I am one. In recovery, thankfully. Thankfully, not having lost everything. He is denying. Getting angry. Avoiding. You can get yourself into Al-Anon. At the end of the day, so many of my fellows at AA meetings will tell them that did not get help until they hit a very ugly rock bottom. Including losing their family. Al-Anon may be able to tell you if there is anything you can do. But I am guessing they mostly support what you have been and will go through. Because until an alcoholic is really ready and willing, it won't happen. It can't. I am sorry you are going through this. He doesn't have a questionable relationship with alcohol, he is an alcoholic. I think it is time for an intervention at this point. It is great that you guys are best friends, etc., but if you care for him, and yourself more importantly, something drastic needs to happen. Less than husband's name, you are an alcoholic. You need to get into rehab and commit to stop drinking, or we need to get divorced. I refuse to help you drink yourself to death. You are enabling an addict. You need help as well. Al-Anon is a good start as well as individual therapy. You also need to say it, my husband is an alcoholic. I read half of this until I realized you're avoiding calling this alcoholism or addiction or whatever. But that's what it is. I spent so many years trying to avoid saying that word in reference to myself because I thought it a death sentence and it just isn't. You should give him an ultimatum. He might actually need it because he might need a wake-up call. They call it a moment of clarity, frequently spurred on by a loss, like job or marriage, and it leads to being able to see your life clearly for a second. And if he can see his life clearly for a second and he's the good dude you say he is, then he might want to change. Notice I said might a whole lot. Because this advice might work. But you owe it to yourself and him to try. Good luck. 28F. Keep getting tattoos and piercings against my spouses. 30M. Wishes. Before you pass judgment on me, please understand I've suffered from body dysmorphia from around the age of like 11. I would wear jackets or sweaters in the 80 to 100 degree Florida here just to cover myself. It took until I was about 16 or 17 to stop doing that. Then I joined the military and got out in 2018, so it's not like I could really start my piercing journey at that time. Fast forward to now, I am working on an anime sleeve on my right arm. I have 5, soon to be 4, piercings on my face, and 6 ear piercings. I can't begin to describe how much better I feel about myself nowadays. My husband, however, doesn't understand that. Now it's not his fault whatsoever about how he feels. He's just not a tattoo and piercings type of guy, and I had a lip piercing and a couple tattoos when we met. That was back in 2013. Now my head is partially shaved and I feel like I rocked the crap out of it all. He recently told me that I looked more attractive before it all. Am I being unreasonable? I mean, I get that he doesn't like my look, but it's not like I did it all in a year. It has been a gradual process that's taken almost 4 years, but I still feel bad. Thanks for any and all advice. It's your body, you can do with it as you please, and he is allowed to no longer be attracted to the changes you've made. It may just mean you'll both need to work harder and compromise, or it may mean the end of intimacy if there's no attraction. What advice do you want? He preferred before better, but there is no going back. So what is the problem? Well, everyone has a preference, and it sounds like he's not really into your style. So move on for the both of you. Nobody's wrong, it is what it is. You two got married way too early and have grown into people who aren't compatible with each other. No judgment on either party. If you still have deep-seated resentment over video games after a year, that's a good indication that the divorce will eventually happen. Rather than wait for that one spark to set it off, talk to him about it. Maybe you can salvage a friendship out of everything. This subreddit is doing you a disservice. Let's put the marriage aside for a second. You said in your post that your tattoos and piercings are a means to cope with body dysmorphia. This is completely unhealthy. You need to go see a professional mental health care provider. The Navy should have a list of people you can see, to take care of yourself, not continue to piece and tattoo every inch of skin. The solution to what's happening to you is proper treatment of the underlying issue. Once that's fixed, if you still want tattoos and piercings, go for it. This is one of those times where, after reading your comments, it's pretty easy to say, get a divorce. Pushing aside the issues you mentioned, neither of you seem like the most mature individuals on the planet. I mean, you can't even tell him the truth about things? If you can't tell your husband, who can you tell? Not to mention that you have completely changed who you are since you've been married. You went from being a member of the military to someone with loads of tats and multiple face piercings. That is a huge change. It seems like neither of you are suited to one another and are just better off going your separate ways. Yikes. If my wife pulled this on me, I'd accept the fact that she's no longer the woman I know and serve up the divorce papers. With that said, you both have the right to feel whichever way you do about it. It is what it is. In the comments acting like a 15-year-old.